Hey guys, it is Nitro1 here, and welcome to the first episode of the brand new series that I'm going to be doing on my channel, which is what I like to call Pokemon Analysis. In other words, in each episode I discuss a Pokemon and show some movesets for it to use in a competitive battle. And I decided to make a series like this just to show my thanks to you guys for 200 subscribers, which I reached at the end of July. And it's also something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while now, as I got inspired by people such as Rykard3, who makes videos similar to this. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this series. It's unlike any of my other series that I've done, so it's something a bit different, but I'm sure you guys will enjoy it nonetheless. So today we're going to be discussing my personal favourite Pokemon at the moment, the Scorching Pokemon Talonflame. So let's begin by taking a look at its stats and abilities. So as you can see, Talonflame is a fire and flying type Pokemon, making it have a weakness to water and electric type Pokemon, and unfortunately a quad weakness to rock type Pokemon, meaning that if Stealth Rock is in play, Talonflame's health will be reduced by a whopping 50% once it gets switched into the battlefield. So with that in mind, I recommend you use Talonflame on a team with a Rapid Spinner or a Defogger, but there is a way you can get around Stealth Rock against Talonflame without Rapid Spin or Defog, which I'll explain a bit later. But in terms of its abilities, its regular ability is Flame Body, which has a 30% chance of burning your opponent if they use a direct contact move on Talonflame. This isn't a bad ability, but it's absolutely inferior to Talonflame's hidden ability, which I highlighted in red, Gale Wings. What Gale Wings does is it gives Talonflame a priority to all flying type moves, including Brave Bird, which is one of the most powerful moves in the entire game. This ability is the sole reason why Talonflame is in the OU Smogon competitive tier, as shown on the screen. With regards to Talonflame's base stats, it has 81 attack, 74 in special attack, and 126 in speed, making Talonflame a pretty solid, fast, and offensive Pokemon, which of course is improved by its Gale Wings ability. Its defenses aren't bad either, but they're not quite significant enough for Talonflame to be a Pokemon capable of taking hits incredibly well. But as Gale Wings gives priority to flying type moves anyway, it is highly commendable to invest a bit of bulk into this bird instead of investing it all into its speed stat, as well as its attack stat. But enough about that, let's just head straight into the first moveset. Now this fast physical sweeper set I have up first is a rather generic set for Talonflame that a lot of people use. I personally don't like it, but I figured I'd show it anyway. For the nature you can go with either Adamant to boost its attack, or Jolly to boost its speed. I recommend Adamant, which is why I highlighted it in green, as you're going to be outspeeding pretty much everything on the field anyway. Keep in mind that both natures will lower special attack, but that won't really matter that much. For the ability we're going to be going with the Gale Wings of course. And for the item you can go with either Leftovers to gain a 16th of HP at the end of every turn, the Life Orb to boost its attacking moves by 30% while losing a 10th of HP each time you attack, or you can also go for the Cell Battery to boost attack by one stage, which I believe is 50% if hit by an electric type move, which is what I run on my own Talonflame. So the EV investment for this set consists of 252 EVs in its attack, 252 in speed, and the remaining EVs into its defense. Some people put the 4 EVs into HP, but what that does is that will give Talonflame an even HP number, meaning it will lose exactly 50% of its health to Stealth Rocks if they're up, whereas if Talonflame has an odd HP number, the game will round the damage down, so Talonflame will lose only just less than half of its health to the rocks, which can make a huge difference. That's why it's important to have odd HP numbers on all Pokemon weak to rocks. But anyway, the moveset consists of Brave Bird, Flare Blitz, which is of course the fire type version of Brave Bird, Swords Dance, which boosts attack by 2 stages, so its attack stat will double I believe, and Roost, which will make Talonflame lose its flying type during the turn you use it, but it will restore Talonflame's health by 50%, which is useful for regaining the health lost by recoil from Brave Bird and Flare Blitz, as well as Life Orb and Stealth Rock. So Roost was the thing that I was mentioning earlier that can help you get past Stealth Rock. Now here I have practically the exact same set as the previous one, but it's a Choice Band variant. What Choice Band does is boost Talonflame's attack by 50%, but it will lock you into using only one move until you switch out. Instead of Swords Dance and Roost, which aren't the best moves to use with a choice item as they're not attacking moves, I put Steel Wing on there for a bit of type coverage, and U-Turn, which will enable Talonflame to deal damage and switch out on the same turn. This set isn't a bad set, but I personally don't like it due to you being only locked into one move. Now this final set is one that Rykard3 showed on his video about Talonflame, and it's a set that I personally like to use on my own Talonflame, and it's the one that I recommend the most. Huge props to Rykard for showing this set on his video. I figured I'd show it to you guys as, like I said, I strongly recommend it. This set consists of a fair amount of bulk investment in Talonflame, whilst having enough speed to outspeed an Excadrill with a jolly nature and max speed. Most fast steel types that are commonly used in OU, particularly a Lucario, Talonflame can attack with Brave Bird and deal a load of damage to it. But Excadrill, on the other hand, will resist Brave Bird really easily, even if it isn't invested in HP or defense at all, and it can retaliate with a rock type move like Rock Slide and easily one-hit KO Talonflame. So if you're against an Excadrill, you can outspeed it without problem and one-hit KO with a Flare Blitz instead. Another great thing about this set is that if you're up against another Talonflame, your opponent will most likely go first and dish out a Brave Bird which you'll be able to take like an absolute boss, and you can retaliate with your own Brave Bird and shut your opponent down. Now the EV spread for this set determines on the nature you want to use on this thing. If you go for Adamant, which will boost attack, you want to run 252 EVs into Talonflame's attack stat. If you go for Careful, which will boost special defense, you want to run 252 into its special defense instead. I've color coded the natures and their corresponding EV investment so they're easier to see. But regardless of which stat you max out, you'll want to run 64 EVs into your speed so you can just outspeed a Jolly Excadrill, and put the remaining 192 EVs into HP to give Talonflame a bit of extra HP. Now if you're playing on Pokemon Showdown, this is the spread you'll want to use, as the Pokemon will be at level 100. But if you're playing a Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle with normal or flat rules, where each Pokemon is set to level 50, you'll want to put 188 EVs into HP and 68 EVs into speed. Otherwise, if you put 64 into speed at level 50, you'll get a speed tie with the Jolly Excadrill instead. So it's safer to put 68 into speed at level 50, so you can guarantee you'll outspeed Excadrill. The HP number will still remain the same, despite taking 4 EVs out of it and putting them into the speed stat. I've also put the move Will-O-Wisp in there so you can burn your opponent and halve their attack stat, so you can cripple any physical sweepers you'll be up against, such as Aegislash. But overall, this is a fantastic set for Talonflame, and I highly recommend it. Now, while a lot of people say that Talonflame is too OP due to its Gale Wings ability and everyone just rage quits if they're up against Talonflame, Talonflame is actually not hard to counter at all. Here are some possible counters to Talonflame. There are quite a few more counters, including any Pokemon capable of using Stealth Rock, but I've included only 3 for now that are perhaps the best counters to Talonflame. The first one is Greninja. This might seem weird as a lot of people think Talonflame can easily one-hit KO Greninja with a Brave Bird any day, but Greninja is actually a great counter for Talonflame with leftovers, as Greninja will not get one-hit KO'd from a Brave Bird from a leftovers Talonflame at full health. Therefore, you can take the hit and retaliate with a Water-type move and shut Talonflame down. However, if you're up against a Life-Orb Talonflame or a Choice-Banded Talonflame, unfortunately Greninja will definitely get one-hit KO'd by a Brave Bird, so keep that in mind. A second counter to Talonflame is Tyranitar or Mega Tyranitar. Being a rock type with very good defense, it can easily wall Brave Bird and Flare Blitz from any Talonflame, and can retaliate with a Stone Edge or Rock Slide to one-hit KO Talonflame without problem. However, only one drawback is T-Tar can get crippled with a Will-O-Wisp like any physical attacker can, so that's something to consider. However, it does have access to Stealth Rock, so if you can get that up before Talonflame is switched in, that'll be a very big help. And a third counter to Talonflame is Rotom Wash. This is a great counter as it can also wall Brave Bird and Flare Blitz due to its typing, as well as dish out a Hydro Pump or an electric move to deal quite a bit of damage to Talonflame. And also, being a special attacker, Rotom won't be crippled either if it gets burnt from a Will-O-Wisp, so Rotom is perhaps the best counter for Talonflame. But that is the end of today's episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and don't forget these aren't the only movesets Talonflame can have. There are lots of other sets out there, so you can make up your own sets and share them in the comments if you want to. And also for the next episode, I'm going to ask you guys what you want me to analyse, out of a choice of Blastoise, Aegislash or Excadrill. Let me know which one you want me to discuss, and the one that gets voted most will be discussed in the next episode. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!